Hello, welcome back. So this is the last video in lesson 4. This is the first of 2 videos on the terrain editor. And in this video, what we're going to do is learn how to use the edit menu inside of the terrain editor. So go ahead and click on the terrain editor here in the home menu. And you'll see we have 9 tools here. We have add, subtract, grow, erode, smooth, flatten, paint, sea level, and replace. I'm not going to show you how to use the smooth, flatten, or sea level tools. I don't really use those, but the other ones are very useful for doing different things. So the easiest tool to use is the paint tool. And if you click on it, it gives you all of these options. And what the paint tool does is it lets you paint on top of any surface. Okay, so, and I like to use it for either making paths or painting maybe something like ice or snow on top of a mountain. So let me show you how easy it is to make a path. So this material, I think, for this first section is ground. So I'm going to choose another material. I'm going to choose pavement. Okay. And then these brushes, they don't really make too much of a difference with the paint tool, but you definitely want the base size to be small. Even a 14 is monstrous. So I'm going to make that a 1. It doesn't really matter on the pivot position. I'll set it on center. And then plane lock is off, and all of the rest of these are off. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and paint a path next to the spawn location. So let me show you how you do that. So I have pavement selected, and if I click, it puts a little bit of pavement there. And you can keep clicking if you want to do it, or you can just drag. And it will, if you hold the left mouse button, it will just paint wherever you have the cursor. And it's that simple to make a little path. So let me go ahead and play this so you can see what it looks like. And there we go. We have a nice little path made of stone in my ground. Okay. And that's it. I mean, the paint tool is super easy, and you can choose any material you want to paint on top of your terrain. But again, this is mainly what I use it for making paths or for maybe snow on top of a mountain or something like that. Okay. Now you can turn the paint tool off by clicking on it again. Okay. And the next one that we're going to use is the replace tool. And the replace tool is the best way to make rivers and ponds, little lakes, whatever you want. So if you click on the replace tool, you have an option. You can replace, here's a huge box here. We're not going to use the box though, we're going to use the brush. Okay. And then what you want to do is you want to pick a shape for your brush. So you can see here we have a sphere shape, a box cube shape, and a cylinder shape. Okay, and for making rivers or ponds, I usually use the cylinder shape. Okay, now you can choose the size of this thing, and this is kind of big. I'd probably make it smaller. Yeah, 4 looks good. And let me kind of zoom in on the size so you can see what these settings do for the brush. So the only way to really see it is to be on the side of something. Okay, so this is base size 4. Height 4, and right now these are locked. So if you change one, the other one changes as well. But you can turn that off by clicking on this little lock here. If you click on it, it becomes an open lock, and now you can change these separately. So you can make 1 4, 1 6. Okay, and actually 4 4 is probably a good size, and I'll show you why. So now look at the pivot position. Right now we have it on the center pivot position, which means that half of our cylinder brush is on top of the ground and half is below the ground. Okay. If I do bottom, then the cylinder brush is going to be entirely on top of the terrain. And if I do top for pivot position, all of it is going to be below ground. And that's actually what we want. We want the pivot position to be below ground, because what we're going to do is we're going to replace this material with water. Okay. The plane lock, if you have it on, helps you kind of this is really useful for making things like walls or to make things that are straight. But right now we're going to turn it off because we don't care about that. We want to be able to move along the top of the surface like this. And then ignore water, I'm going to turn off, and ignore parts I'm going to turn off. Okay, so now you have to pick the correct material. So this, I'm pretty sure, is ground. So the source material is what we're starting with, ground. And what we're replacing it with is water. Okay, so let me show you what happens. Let me zoom in and I'll show you what happens when you click. So if I click here, it makes a little pond. And if I click again, it does it. And you can actually just click if you want to go slow, or you can hold the left mouse button and drag, and it will make a nice little pond. Okay, and this is really the best way to make rivers and lakes because let me show you. Let me see if I can show you here. Yeah, see the water level is slightly below the ground level, and that looks natural. Doing this other ways, the water will sometimes be above the ground, which just doesn't look right. So let's test this. Let me show you what this looks like. Let's test our little pond. So I have a trail that takes me over to my pond, and if I go in, oh, there it is. And I think I might have gone all the way to the bottom. Let's see. Yeah, I did touch. There's the concrete layer on the bottom, but the rest of it looks pretty good, and I can swim around. Okay, that worked, and it worked well. So we have a little pond here, and again, this is my favorite way to make water. Fantastic. Let me go ahead and stop this. Okay, and again, I chose. Let me show you this again. So if I scroll up here, I chose. Oh, and sometimes when you like test it and then come back, it doesn't show the brush. You just have to turn it off and then turn it on again, and it'll show the brush. And I chose this size of a brush because you see I wanted it to be almost all the way down to that base layer. Okay, now you could have made it shallower by making the height maybe a 2, and watch, then the water would not have gone that deep. Okay, so you can use the brush size especially with this replace tool to choose how deep your water is going to be. Okay, but again, 4 was what I wanted because I wanted this water to go all the way down through almost to this base layer. Okay, so that is the replace tool, and again, you can use this for other things, but I just like this tool a lot for making ponds and rivers and stuff. Okay, so we've learned the paint tool, we've learned the replace tool. Let's move on to the grow and erode tools. So these are great. Let me go to grow first, and let me change my camera angle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little hill right over here. And I'm going to make my brush size smaller because that's pretty big. I don't want my hill to be that big. So let me make this a 2. See what that looks like. Yeah, that looks good. And the strength, okay, on the strength, you probably want that pretty low because if you have it at 1, this thing is going to make, let me show you what it does. If you have it at 1, this thing makes terrain grow really fast. Watch, I'm going to click. Oh, and I have it on grass right now. Hold on, let me Control Z and change the material to rock. Watch what happens if I hold the left mouse button. It grows really fast, and you can make, some people use this to make arches, and it will do it very fast. But that's too fast for me. I can't control it very well. So I usually have the strength down to like 0.1. Yeah, let me see what that does. That's much easier to control. Now I can just click where I want to make this little mountain. And you can also hold, but at 0.1, it's pretty easy to control. You can just kind of hold the left mouse button and move your way around. And if you need to, you know, go ahead and change your camera angle. This looks pretty good though. So I made a nice little mountain over here, and I can make it wider. And this is really fun just to kind of play around with. And if you make a mistake, just hit the undo button or Control Z. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and play, and you can see my little stone hill. There it is. Okay, and it's nice and tiny, not very big, kind of jagged there. You can probably fix that if you wanted to. But what I was telling you earlier, how you can paint on top of mountains. So let me paint a little bit on top of this little hill. So I'm going to go back to the paint tool. And this time I'm going to paint with snow. And all I'm going to do is just paint the very top with the little snow. See? And if I play again, you can see now my little mountain has, my little hill has snow on top. Okay? So those are really the two things that I use the paint tool the most for, is to just make snow on mountains or to make paths like I did over here. Okay, let's try some other tools. So again, you could use this to make hills, little mountains. You could use it to make arches, bridges, whatever you want. I'm going to turn off the paint tool, and now I'm going to use the erode tool. And that is way too big. I'm going to make the base size a 1. And the strength on this one, actually, I think you can have it a little higher. Let me see how it works. Okay, and so I'm going to make a little hole over here. So let me see how quickly this works. Oh, you know what? And sometimes you have to change the angle. It doesn't work sometimes. Huh? Maybe. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. Sometimes you have to like look in different places for it to work. Not sure why. But actually on 1, it's not that hard to control. So I'm just going to leave it at 1 and just go slowly. I'm just clicking here to make a hole in the ground. And one thing that you can do with this that's kind of neat is you can actually make a little cave that will go under the ground. Let me show you. See if I can do it. What I like to do is make these caves that kind of go into the water. So let me see if I can do that. And again, if you mess up doing this, just hit undo. Okay, now what I'm going to try to do is go here sideways so I can get into my water through this cave. And I'm going to go a little faster. And you have to change the angle sometimes. Yeah, see it stops taking material away. I'm not sure if it's going to let me dig all the way to my water. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so I went all the way to the base layer here, which is okay. And I'm trying to get to the water, which is right here, but it's not letting me. Oh, there it goes. Okay, you just have to keep clicking until it lets you get to that layer. Let me see if I can go sideways here. Yeah, so this is a little harder this time than other times. You can also try zooming in. Let's see if that works. No. Almost there. It just won't let me dig right past here. Okay, so I'm not sure it's going to let me dig this time. Let me see if I can get in sideways. Let me see. Let me try a different shape. See if this will let me do it. No. Yeah, so I'm kind of stuck. It won't let me dig past this for some reason. Yeah, it won't let me do it anymore. I'm so close too. Watch. I think the water level is just right there. Anyway, let's test out my little hole. Okay, so I can go over here to my little cave, and unfortunately can't make it all the way. I was hoping I could make it into the water from here. But you can see how the erode tool lets you remove material from the terrain. Okay, and let's see what other tools we have here. Okay, we have, what have I not shown you yet? So I've shown you the paint tool. I've shown you the replace tool, the grow, the erode tool. Oh, you can actually do the add tool. And the add tool is nice. Let me show you, because you can make things. Let me see. We use it to make walls. Let me show you. Let me put a wall here. We're going to use this later too. So I'm going to click on the add tool, and I'm going to choose the square shape. Okay. And this time I'm going to choose brick, and let's see what's a good size. Oh, and I want the pivot position to be on the bottom because I'm going to build on top of the ground. And this is way too big. I'm going to make this a 1. Yeah, that looks good. Bottom for the pivot position. Plane lock, I actually want that on auto. And this is where we're going to first use this, this plane. And what this does is it lets you add material in a straight line or along kind of like along a wall. Okay. And so let me show you how this works. So the thing about the plane is that it depends on your camera angle. So if I go here sideways, you can see that my plane is up and down. But if I move my camera, watch, it's going to flip eventually. There it is, it flipped, and now it's more of a diagonal, okay? So if you change your camera angle to where you're looking sideways, it's gonna go up and down. If you change it to where you're looking at more of an angle, then it's gonna go diagonal. And if you go looking at the very top, eventually it's gonna switch to a horizontal plane, okay? And they're all useful. Sometimes you wanna build things that are horizontal like this, and sometimes I want to build things that are straight up and down. I haven't found a use yet for the diagonal plane. I guess you could use it to make a bridge or something. But let me show you how it works with the kind of the up and down plane. So I've got a square brush, size 1:1. Pivot position is bottom, which sets the bottom of the cube on top of the ground. Plane lock is on auto, so that I have this plane to help me build straight. I've chosen the brick as my material. And now you have to go slowly here, but let me show you how to make a wall. So I'm gonna click and hold the left mouse button and go sideways. And see, it's gonna make a nice wall that's gonna stay straight. And then I can go up and it's gonna keep making that wall straight and then sideways. As long as you don't let go of that left mouse button, it will keep making this wall straight up and down. Okay, and so there's my wall. I'm gonna stop and show you what this looks like. Oh, and you can actually put a little step on the side here. It's not gonna be perfect. I can try to get it aligned. This step's probably not gonna be in the perfect spot, but let me click here. Yeah, I didn't put it exactly where I wanted it to. I'm gonna put one right here too. Okay, not perfect, but hopefully this will let me step on the wall. Okay, play. Okay, we have a wall over here. And I should be able to, well, see if I can jump on there. Yes, I can. Okay, so I can jump on my wall and just climb around. Okay, so the add tool is fantastic for making these straight walls when you use some material like brick. It makes them perfectly straight, which I like. And let me show you the other use. And the thing is, you can make whatever you want with this stuff, right? These tools will let you create anything in terrain. And my students are way more creative than I am with this. Most of these things that I've learned to build, I've learned from them. So just play around with it. These tools are really fun to use. So we had the add tool that I used to make these walls, and we'll use this again in the next lesson. Let me see. I don't really use the smooth or flatten tools or the sea level tool. The only other one is this subtract tool. And actually, I want to try to use it to keep making my little cave over here. See if I can just make a hole through it so that I can get you over to the water. So I'm going to make my brush size small, make it a 1, centered. That looks good. I'm going to turn off. Actually, you know what? I do want to ignore water because I don't want to dig a hole through the water. Ignore parts, no. And let's see if this lets me get rid of this material. Oh, it does. Okay. So the erode tool for some reason stopped and it wouldn't let me go past this point, but the subtract tool will definitely let me go there. So let me go ahead and, oh, and I think I made my, let me undo. Yeah. I don't want it to go too far. Okay, so I'm going to make, oh, there it is. And there's my water. And hopefully, since I have this ignore water turned on, it won't erase any of my water. And let me just make a little hole here so I can get in there. Okay, so let me play and test this cave. See if it works. Looks big enough. Yes, and it works. I can go through my little cave and get up into go into the lake. So let me go back. Okay, so you can actually go the other way too. So I can go through this and I come out. Okay, awesome, fantastic. This is exactly, except now I wonder if I can climb out of my little cave. Yeah, I can. Okay, so these are the tools that I use from the edit menu. The erode, the subtract material, the add material. I use it to make walls. Add, I also, or the grow, I use to make hills or mountains. The paint tool, I use to make paths or to maybe paint the top of my hills with another material. And then the replace tool is fantastic for making rivers and lakes and things like that. And those are really the only tools I use. And this is a good start. Again, you should just play around with these and have fun with them. Okay, so in the next lesson, this is actually the end of this lesson. So in the next lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to use these tools to make some more things with our terrain. So I'll see you then.